I'm back with another video, Panama Canal Zone, Part 1. Here we go. I took a trip to Panama. I had heard and read that the rainforest, the Canal Zone, and the wildlife that lives in it, something to behold. So I decided to take a trip. Panama City, one of the few cities in the world that actually sits inside a rainforest. But as you fly into Panama City, you see all these lights, and I'm thinking, it doesn't look like a forest to me. And then I get to Panama City, spend the night, wake up, look out, and I'm like, am I in New York? It did not take long for me to ditch the city and get on a boat. There's a lot of wildlife that lives on the Canal Zone, especially right along the Chagres River. Wanted to see it. Had a driver pick me up, dropped me off at the boat dock near Soberania National Park, and headed into the Canal Zone. This trip took me into the canal for a short bit, and that is an adventure in itself. Passing by a number of ships actually in the canal itself on their way from the Atlantic to the Pacific. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. It did not take long to get to the Chagres River, and the scenery changed. The sight, the sound, and I knew that I was in the jungle. Immediately, I could hear life all around. Didn't see a lot, but I could hear it. Then in the distance, I heard howler monkeys. There are 3 primates that live in the Canal Zone. Howler monkeys are hard to miss because you can hear them a mile away. And lo and behold, here they are. Howler monkeys live throughout Central America. They can grow up to 3 feet long. They can also have a 3-foot tail. Their tails are prehensile, which means they can use it to grasp. So it actually becomes another arm that they can use to swing and hang on to limbs while they're feeding. Howler monkeys survive on leaves and foliage. They are strictly vegetarian. They live in what is called a troop of about 15 to 20 monkeys. They weigh somewhere between 15 and 20 pounds. And they spend their lives in the trees. More impressive than seeing them is hearing them. Once you hear a howler monkey, and this is how they've earned their name, you know exactly what it is. It is only the males that make this sound. They use it as a sign of aggression to warn off any and everything that they feel is a threat to their territory, especially other howlers. Howler monkeys are not friendly. They don't like anything. They don't like other primates. They don't like people. They don't like anything else that lives in the forest. They will not approach you. However, they are uncomfortable if they feel threatened, and they will sound the alarm to all the other monkeys in the troop. But the thing about howler monkeys is this. Everyone grew up with this person. He has a big mouth, but that's about it. Howler monkeys do not fight. They only howl in hopes that the bass in their voice will run everyone off. If they're really confronted, they're going to turn and run. Howler monkeys live somewhere between 15 to 20 years. They have a 6.5-month gestation period, and they make up the highest percentage of primates in the areas that they occupy. After observing and being insulted by howler monkeys, we go further down the river. The boat captain turns the engine off and lets the boat sail right into the shore where the jungle meets the river. And I'm thinking first, it's like, hey man, is this really the place you want to stop right now? Because it looks like there's some stuff living in here that might end up on the boat, and I don't know if that's a good idea. But he started looking, and then you see moving in the brush another primate. This is a Jeffries tamarin, and I know he may not look like a primate, but he is in the primate family. Tamarins are highly territorial. They are led by an alpha male. That male is often challenged for leadership because that leadership brings about breeding. That typically will lead to guys doing crazy stuff. Tamarins are omnivores. They will eat plants, leaves, insects, small rodents, reptile eggs, and sap from trees. As I said, they're highly territorial. Unlike howler monkeys, tamarins will fight. He will fight. He just doesn't win. Joffrey's tamarins weigh right around a pound. They're about the size of a squirrel you'd find in your backyard. They have a number of names. They're called Joffrey's tamarins. They're also called monotitis. The captain of our boat also called them tasties. Looking at their size, you can see why. There are several birds of prey just waiting to find a tamarin out in the open. Tamarins typically live in groups from 3 to 5. They are polygamous. Females have a 5-month gestation period. Unlike a number of species, male tamarins are heavily involved in raising their young. They are constantly on the move. I guess when you're this size and there's always something out there trying to eat you, you don't sit still very long. As this journey continues, we see some other things that live in the jungle, and they lead us to whiteface, or what are also called capuchin monkeys. Capuchins are probably the most social of the 3 primates that live in the Canal Zone. They're curious. They're also hungry. Capuchins will approach you. They will jump on the boat. They will take any food that they find. If it's in your hand, if it's in your bag, does not matter. If they want it, they're going to try to get it. And if you try to resist, they will bite you. Capuchins can be quite aggressive. So yes, these are the dudes that are out here taking everybody's lunch money. Capuchins are about 18 inches long. They weigh in the neighborhood of 8 to 9 pounds. They can live up to 25 years. As I said, they can be aggressive. All the other primates in the forest scatter when they show up. Like tamarins, they're omnivores. They will eat a number of plants and animals. They will even eat other primates. Another reason why all the other primates get gone when they show up. Capuchins live in large groups. It is not uncommon for a troop to have up to 30 members in it. They are considered the most intelligent animals in the New World. That conclusion is drawn from their ability to use tools. Capuchins are polygamous. They have a 6-month gestation period, and females will give birth every 2 years. Here's a little fun fact. Some female capuchin monkeys, when they are attracted to a male, will throw rocks at him to get his attention. Right then and there, his buddies are telling him, look, man, she crazy. But like I've said many times before, dudes will just do some crazy stuff. I have pretty much spent the entire day out on the river. On the way back, I decided I want to see how this Panama Canal thing works. So I stopped at the Miraflores locks. They have a program. They actually have a tour. You go in, you can watch an IMAX movie, then you can actually go out and watch a ship pass through the locks, or at least one of the locks on the Panama Canal. I am in full nerd mode. This is really interesting to me. I want to sit and see how this thing works. Just a little background. The Isthmus of Panama is 51 miles wide. The first idea to use Panama as a passage from the Pacific to the Atlantic and vice versa came from the French. They came here in the 1800s, tried to dig the canal through the Continental Divide, and after 22,000 people died from landslides, malaria, and yellow fever, and having spent $40 million, they decided, yeah, this canal thing, it's just not going to work. A few years later, an American engineer decided, hey, you know what? We're going to dam the Chagres River and raise the sea level above the Continental Divide, and we're going to sail ships right through here. Before I go on, let me say this. The engineering and the thought processes behind the Panama Canal is genius. However, we have to give a big shout out to those dudes from Barbados who came out here with shovels, tools, picks, and dynamite and made this thing happen. There were other people from Caribbean countries that involved. Most of the labor for this were men from Barbados. The world thanks you. I don't know if you know this or not, but Panama was once ruled by Colombia. There were some people who took interest in building canal, and the Colombians were not exactly amenable to that. Then these dudes showed up with these boats with big guns on them and pointed them at Colombia, and they had a change of heart. A few days later, Panama was an independent nation. You may have heard the term gunboat diplomacy. Yeah, this was it right here. I'm not saying it was right. I'm just saying that's what happened. Some may not realize that the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean are at different levels. The Pacific Ocean is higher. So the engineers at the Panama Canal thought of damming the Chagres River and installing a series of locks and gates that would raise and lower the sea level through fluid mechanics. The amazing thing, these locks and gates operate the same as they did in 1914 when the canal opened. A ship will approach the locks. The water in the locks will drain. In this case, it will lower the ship 89 feet to the level of the Caribbean Sea so it can pass to the Atlantic Ocean. It requires a great deal of precision to guide a ship through the channel. In many cases, there is 1 foot, maybe 2 feet on either side of the canal for the ship to pass without damage. Once the water is at the proper level, the gates will open and the ship will pass. A reservation is required to enter the canal. It will take one ship 8 to 10 hours to complete the 51-mile journey. Passing through the canal will cut 30 days off sailing time, and as we all know, time is money. A ship passing through the canal can only be piloted by a Panamanian ship captain. Before a ship can approach the locks, the captain will ride out to the ship on a tugboat. He will take over the controls and guide the ship through the canal locks. Because of the time required to pass through the canal, you can look out and see dozens and dozens of ships just waiting their turn to enter the canal. This goes on all day, every day. Once the gate is open, the ship and its megatons of cargo will pass through the locks on its way out. The locks will close behind it. They will fill with water again, waiting for the next vessel. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this channel. This has been quite a day. I get a ride back to Panama City just in time to see sunset, and I can't wait until the next trip out into the jungle. But before I go, I will leave you with these. The next video is the Panamanian jungle on foot. Please tune in.